Hey everybody, it's Josh Ellsworth with Stalls, and thanks for joining me on this live broadcast. It's been a while since I personally have went live to our audiences on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So I'm excited to be back with you here on a Friday afternoon to end our week, or who knows, maybe to kick off into a brief break before we work the weekend decorating apparel, right? And so the reason I wanted to go live is because I wanted to talk to you about some different trends that we're seeing out there in the product line. I wanted to open myself up to questions on these trends and also talk a little bit about a new product that we just dropped today and launched. So I'm excited to give you a first look at that product. We'll certainly have some videos that will hit our different channels that you're watching on that will show that product in action. But I'm going to talk through that product where I think it can fit in your business and try to teach you all about it. So be sure to make sure to connect here and let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and we will be able to take your questions here live on air. We have people that are standing by to help answer those questions as well. So first off, let me share my screen. And I want to talk about some strategies to win larger orders. I know that's what many of you are tuning in to see. And so I thought it would be interesting to put together a handful of ideas to walk you through. And I'm going to use this slideshow just to kind of kick off each idea. And so the first strategy or concept that I want to give you is the concept of bringing dimension or unique heat transfers into your business. And of course, that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today with our product mix. But in looking at our order data and looking at apparel decorators that are being successful with larger average order value to us at Stalls, we notice that a lot of times those orders are coming in the dimensional products. And I added a sub point there because I just really wanted to illustrate the concept. It's showing looks that stay on press. And by press, of course, we mean heat printing press or heat press, not necessarily that move to screen printing. And so if you're experienced in the world of apparel decorating and you have access to a lot of different technology, you know that if you take a basic logo, like let's say this Stalls logo, for instance, that I have on my sleeve, it's a 3-color logo. It's just a flat logo on this performance gear. At a certain quantity, it's going to make more sense to move that off of the heat press and perhaps onto screen printing equipment. And so for those decorators that want to drive business growth into their heat press, because perhaps that's all you have, or because you would just like to build up some scale in that department because it's a little bit easier to hire for and staff and drive some of the business that direction, showing dimensional products and focusing on these looks that cannot be taken off of the heat press and mirrored or produced any other way, I think that's going to radically change your business and the size orders that you're getting. And just to show you an example, I know some people, when they think of heat pressing, they think of quantities of like one-offs or 6s or 12s or even 24s. Well, that's just not the case with screen printed transfers, and it's certainly not the case with dimensional emblems. So I pulled up a graph to show you some inside information here so you can see some actual average quantities with how you can raise your profit by raising the dimension of your design. And so what you see on the screen here is, and we'll give you a full screen here, you don't need to see me, you see our top 5 dimensional products that people are using on their heat press. And you'll see the average order quantity that customers are buying in each of these products. And so each of these products do have a minimum order, but what we see is the average order quantity being much higher than minimum. And I will tell you, there's a lot of orders that come in straight at that minimum order, which I'll talk about here in a little while. But we also see orders coming in by the hundreds or by the thousands or even up into the 50s and 90s. These could make a big impact for your business. And so by focusing on these dimensional products, by getting your customer to want to adopt a product like Flex Style, and I'll show you some examples of what each of these look like. When you get into one of these products, customer may want 25 today, but that order may turn into 2,000 tomorrow. And we're not going to be able to shop price on that. You're going to keep pulling that business into you. And so I thought this snapshot of these average order quantities would give you some great inspiration to really think that you can go out and you can win this business. Now, certainly we see these products on these dimensional products on a wide variety. But before I go to all of that, what I want to do is I want to pull up a look here of a variety of the dimensional products so you know the terminology. And so the first one that I want to start with is leather. And in the leather line, we have genuine leather, and we also have a faux leather. And so the genuine leather, you can see this is applied with just a heat press. We have tons of videos on the channel and on the group on how to do this, but very easy to just apply if you have the right heat press equipment. And right over my back shoulder here, you'll see that Hotronix 360 IQ hat press. That was used to apply all of the samples that I'm showing you right now in a webinar that I did yesterday. And so this was applied yesterday, genuine leather. So you know what that looks like. That's some dimension. Here we have an embroidered patch, right? And so we get the look of embroidery, but in a patch style, which creates its own advantages. So you don't have that embroidery equipment, or what we hear from some decorators is they have sometimes a problem hooping and placing the graphic correctly, and it takes a lot of time. When you're decorating with a heat press, it's as easy as order the patches, position, and press. We have one of my favorites, puff embroidery. I mean, look at the dimension on that, right? And so it's just really lifting off of the item. This is just heat pressed, right? You're not seeing any stitching inside the hat at all. We're decorating this 5950 from New Era, and that's just heat press on there with 3D embroidery. So it's possible. A new one that we just pushed out, I think it's been about maybe a month ago, PVC. And so PVC patches are these rubberized patches that you can just heat applied. We've heat applied this one on an unstructured Nike cap right over the seam. And so all of these blanks, there's a lot of different sources for blank headwear out there, Michael, to answer your question. All of those examples I just showed you came from a company called Sanmar, which is spelled SANMAR, sanmar.com. They are great blank apparel wholesalers. We also work with SNS Activewear, Alpha Broder. There's a lot of different choices out there, but those are some wholesalers. And if you've done the work to set up a tax ID for your business, which I would encourage you to do, you're going to be able to register an account and get wholesale rates on this branded headwear or branded apparel. Like this Adidas quarter zip I'm wearing right now came from SNS Activewear, and then we decorated it. So lots of options. So that's my tip number one to increase your average order, is to go ahead and just show looks that stay on the press, explore out into dimension. Now, when we start talking about dimension, these dimensional products do have that 25-piece minimum across the board. And so instantly that's going to set a floor. And you'll see a tip later on increasing your minimum order quantity. That way you are spending your time and energy on bringing in sales that are going to reach a certain value. But the other tip I want to give you to increase your average order value and win larger deals is to bundle, or some people like to call this to kit, right? And so how great would it be if for every cap sale that I get in that New Era cap, if I can also be pairing that with something else, whether that is, if it's for sports, it could be a gym bag or a duffel bag with the same logo on it, even a different logo that's complementary. It could be a polo, a quarter zip. It could be 100 different products. But the idea that you do the work as a apparel decoration specialist and a branding specialist to curate these looks, present them to your client all together, and give them an all-in price. I firmly believe that doing your work for the client, they're trusting you to say, this looks good with this, with that, and giving them options to be able to say yes to a higher value order is going to help you win larger deals. I mean, bundle 3 items, you're probably at least going to increase that sale by 2.5x by doing it that way. And that's all part of a sales and marketing strategy and a business strategy for you. And if you're not operating that way, you're leaving potential money on the table. I think that's a great way to get larger orders. Now, the other thing that I want to talk to you about is pricing tiers. And I'm going to give you an example of this, but I'm not saying discounts just for the sake of discounts. I'm recommending pricing tiers because as buyers, we are motivated to save. And savings shouldn't come at a cost to your price necessarily as a decorator, or I should say it shouldn't come at a cost to your profit. So do the work up front, establish a pricing grid. That way you've done the math and you can actually present an offering to the client that says, hey, I know you asked me for 48, but who knows? If you show them a price at what that looks like at 96 or 100 or 200, there may be an opportunity that will still meet the budget that they've set, and they may want to invest in more. And so having a price grid where you can position some sort of savings or opportunity for them to get all at once and get a larger quantity is going to create an opportunity for you. So when I'm quoting, you don't want to just give exactly what the client asked for. Yes, you want to give that, but you want to give opportunity for them to upgrade that order. And so you can say order 24 more or order 50 more and save X, right? And so bundling, creating a price grid, not only for the individual items, for the bundle, this is all work that you can do upfront. And so I've created something called a Headwear pocket guide that I want to show you guys real quick. So let me pull this up. These are just some sales tips as we're talking about bundling and all the tips I'm giving you. This talks about adding headwear to your product categories. So increasing your product assortment to increase your average order value. And then I'm going to give you some sales tips, right? Presenting is good, better, best. Being able to give your customer choices, not only to go up in quantity, but go up on category. And so take it from a flat logo to a dimensional logo. Take it from a generic house brand cap to a Nike cap or whatever it may be. And so offering that ability for customers to move up on item or decoration will increase your average item value, subsequently everything up the chain, average order value, average customer value. Having that price grid and really focusing your sales energy on the premium as we're talking about with dimensional logos. And so on the back of this grid, you'll see kind of a quick look of all of the different dimensional emblems, or at least a handful of the different dimensional emblems that you can access with just a heat press. But you'll also see a price grid. And this price grid didn't just come from my mind with making up numbers. This actually came from surveying some of you that are probably watching right now in our Facebook group, people that have invested in the equipment, that have established headwear as a category for their business, and looking at actual jobs that you produced and giving that feedback. How many was it? What product was it? What did you sell it for? And so this is designed to be not the 100% answer, but a guide to show you how you could position a good, better, best offering to your client, how you could position price breaks at different increments, and how you can travel that throughout a grid. You can make the decision whether or not you want to have this grid and give it to your customers. A lot of what I'd like to do is keep the grid in the back pocket. And that way, when you get a request, you're able to answer that request right away, give a price, give a bundle, give a savings, and work the process. And so I think that should help you tremendously in your business. If you're just joining, we're talking about different ways to increase your sales and get larger orders. And then here in just a moment, we're going to show you a new product from Stalls that just launched today to help you do just that, to establish more of a premium value on your product, get larger orders, this higher perceived value so you can charge more. And so far we've talked about dimension, we've talked about bundling, we've talked about pricing tiers, we've talked a little bit about good, better, best. And I do want to follow back up on that idea that I dropped at the beginning, which is establishing minimums or MOQs, minimum order quantities. Minimum order quantities and establishing that is going to change your business. Just because you can do one piece doesn't mean you should do one piece, because you have to calculate what it costs to take that order for one piece. So when we talk about the big shops that are doing quantities of one and doing made to order and print on demand, typically they've invested a lot of money to establish a system to be able to take thousands or tens of thousands of single piece orders. Their whole shop was built around that single piece order. What I find for small decorators that are doing single piece orders or 2-piece orders or 3-piece orders for a birthday, retirement party, or for a friend is typically you're not very profitable there. You end up consuming a lot of energy with the hope that that very small order will lead to something in the future. Well, in my opinion, it's better just to set the business rules up front that this is our minimum order value, and it takes away you feeling bad and having to have that conversation that you can't do it for them. And so there is nothing wrong with setting a minimum order quantity or a minimum dollar value that makes sense for your business. You're investing time and energy to get the sale, to process the sale, to handle the artwork. Let's make sure it's worth it. Okay, so establishing those minimums is absolutely critical. Now, as we talk a little bit more, I'm going to peek in to see what kind of questions we have coming in. And it's looks like there's some questions on durability of the emblems. And so if you press the emblems accurately with the correct time, temperature, and pressure, the durability will outlast the hat or outlast the garment, and we categorize that as 50 plus wash cycles. And then on a cap, really, I don't think you're going to see any issues. Not many people are washing their cap. And we actually have videos out there where we had one of our partners try to pull off the patch with pliers after it had been applied, and they can't even get it off that way. So say shout out to a couple people. Hey, Skip, good to see you. Skip is the hat master. So if you're not in, I should say, our Facebook group, Heat Press for Profit, Skip shares a lot of tips on how he decorates hats in that Heat Press for Profit group, and you'll get a lot of tips and techniques to be successful with it. All right. And yeah. So the question from the Coleman twins, good to see you. What happened to the all-day Heat Press for Profit sessions? We really enjoyed the one we attended last year. So during COVID and coming out of COVID, we did a lot of those sessions. Now that we're back in person at events, we've done a little bit less on the all-day sessions, but we're definitely still invested in education, still do a ton of videos, but maybe we need to jump back a little bit more, at least me personally, into lives. So appreciate the feedback there. And hey, Brandy, good to see you. Brandy's one of our Stalls ambassadors as well. Happy Friday to you. And then the pocket guide is available, and it is available within our Heat Press for Profit Facebook group. And so we'll link to that for you. If you guys join over there, we'll make sure we direct you to that resource. All right. And the emblems right now are sold in US and Canada, and we have Target transfers in the UK that also supplies a different line of dimensional patches. All right. So I think that hits a lot of it. And Michael, if you want to run the any of our heat presses in Europe, just make sure you order it with the proper voltage, I believe it is. So you can get it 220 volt or 240 volt instead of the 110 or 120 that the US uses. If you buy from Target transfers, it'll already come equipped to run in Europe. All right, cool. Want to share with you now a little bit about this new product. So let me pull it up here. Too many windows open. All right, got the right one. All right, so again, we gave you kind of a lineup of dimensional emblems and patches. And so to date, we've had embroidered patches, and then we've also had sublimated patches, which is called CAD Prints Permatwill. And so these are the advantage of a sublimated patch is you get something flat, you get something full color. It's actually a digital print that's sublimated onto the twill fabric to make up the patch. And so a lot of you love sublimated patches. You've been buying them like crazy. And then a lot of you love embroidered patches, right? And have buying them like crazy. And so now we've combined the best of both worlds into a new product we call Print Stitch. And so what I love about this product is we have a sublimated patch that's also embroidered. And so mixing the media in this patch not only solves a lot of problems for us, but mixed media creates a lot of visual interest in different layers of dimension, peaks and valleys in the design. And so the finished product quality on these is just unbelievable. And so the patch that I have on the screen now, and we'll link to them in all the places that you're watching so you can get to this product page. But the patch that I have on the screen right now, I'm just going to click it to make the image larger. You can see that the mountains here are embroidered and they're sewn. You can see that the edge is sewn and embroidered. Mountain bike is embroidered. But we have some really fine details in this that maybe wouldn't show as well with embroidery. And so we've sublimated those details. And so I thought that was a really interesting use case for the product and way to bring it to life. And I'm sure you guys will create all kinds of really cool stuff with it. I also really like this one. While it's a rather simple design, I think it illustrates the value of the product quite well, in that we have these multiple colors of embroidered thread on the patch, but we have this kind of gradient or this full color backing. And so at some point you're limited by the number of thread colors you can use. But when we're talking about sublimation in digital, I could literally put a photo in the back if I wanted. And so there's a lot of opportunity for mixed media, for different looks, for different levels of peaks and valleys and visual interest in the design by combining the embroidery with the sublimation, and we call that product print stitch. So again, you can check out the link and go through the product, but I did go ahead and download the pricing guide. So once you go to the product page, guys, you can download the pricing guide just for print stitch right here, or you can download the entire brochure, which is updated with all of our dimensional and emblems patches offering. And you can scroll down and you can get the exact heat press settings for all the heat presses that you could possibly be using. I, of course, recommend the 360 IQ or top and lower heat on your heat platen. It's going to let you do more fabrics, more products without damaging those. Okay. But I did go ahead and download the price guide. So the brochure rather. So let me go to the brochure, and I'm going to head and scroll down to print stitch to explain to you how this works. Won't make you watch me scroll through everything so you don't get dizzy there. Let's get down to it. Print stitch, here we go. All right, sharing it again for you. And here's how the pricing works. So I'll zoom in just a little bit so we can get a nice look at it. So first thing I want to walk you through is the formula. If you've ordered our emblems and patches before, you understand this formula. Everything just about works like this. Down the very bottom, I'm highlighting it here where my cursor is. You add the length plus the width, and you divide it by 2. And then you round up to the next whole number. So let's just say I had a 2 by 2 inch circle, length plus width. So 2 plus 2 equals 4, divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 equals 2, right? I don't have to round up. 2 is a whole number. And so what I'm going to do once I calculate that, I'm going to go and find 2 inches on the grid. You see right up here in the top. And when I'm up here on the grid, then I'm just going to intersect that with my x-axis on the quantity. And for 50 pieces at that 2-inch size, it would be $2.78 a patch, right? If I had an order for 100 pieces, it would be $2.06. So it's very quick, very easy. So all of your pricing and your cost on this is impacted by how large your design is, and of course, the quantity that you're ordering. Now, something else as a tip to get some orders and try this product is when you first upload your logo to stalls.com, and I'll show you where you do that here in a moment, you're going to pay $26 after you upload your logo and select the product. Now, for another $12.50, so for a total of $38.50, you can actually get a pre-production sample mailed to you. And what that means is you'll get your client's actual logo that you upload, or your logo if you just want to try it with your logo. You'll get that sent to you with print stitch. You'll get a single piece, and then you can go ahead and press that onto a cap or press that onto a product. And this makes for an awesome opportunity for taking, let's say, your top 10 clients, uploading logos that you've already ordered before and other transfer products, and let's take them from something basic and let's take them to something new and dimensional. We can bring that logo to life in print stitch or any of these other products. You can get one in, and for $38.50 plus the cost of a hat or a polo, whatever you want to put it on, you can be decorating this piece. So I'd say for under $50, you're showing your customer a brand new look, and now you've already paid to have their logo set up. And I can't guarantee you, but I can give you very high probability and odds that when you put that physical product with their logo in their hands, they will keep it on their desk. It'll have meaning to them, and they will remember you, and they will purchase. And so do that for your top 10 prospects, your top 10 customers. You can buy these products. Doug, I see the question coming in from YouTube. You can buy these products with a heat applied backing. But if you wanted to get a pressure sensitive style, like an industrial sticker, you can also get these in a pressure sensitive style. So you can stick them to the front of a journal, maybe for the meeting, or to the side of a water bottle, or a tumbler, or a phone case. So a lot of different uses depending on which patch you select. I think there could be some interesting applications for pressure sensitive print stitch, this new style with sublimation embroidery, especially for journals and some of those types of products. Great product for gifting coming up here in the end of the year. You should be thinking about how are we going to kit together holiday kits for businesses that want to gift things at the end of the year to their employees. These products are great. And the best thing is they're not going to end up in the landfill or at Goodwill or wherever thrown out. These are products that have a lot of value. which means those receiving them are going to want to retain them. We're just upping the caliber rather than just throwing a bunch of things that end up in the Salvation Army or the Goodwill pile. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, gives you some excitement about the new product. I do want to pop over to stalls.com just for a second, and let me show you exactly where you upload your logo and get started. So right here up in the top, you can log in to your account on stalls.com. If you don't have an account, it's very easy to set one up. And all you're going to do is click on this artwork uploader button in the top right once you're logged in, and that will launch you into a full experience where you can upload your art. Ultimately, we'll turn around a proof for you to approve, and then you can place your order. So let's check in on some questions. So Doug asked a follow-up question, so I want to make sure I hit this. So Doug says he's received 3 or 4 proofs, just wondering if I can heat press them. Absolutely. Those are production caliber proofs. So if you've ordered heat applied backing and you've received a physical proof from that, that's the exact product you're going to get in your order. It just has a little glue dot or something to hold it to the paper that it comes with. So just peel that off, and then you can use that just like you would any other logo. All right, good to see you. Thread Chemistry, T-shirt and print, watching on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Michael, thanks for the follow-up. Glad you're liking the idea. Can we get some samples? So that's a great question. So if you are an early adopter, samples are not ready now, but you can jump on and order your client's logo and get them for the pricing I just walked through. But if you stay patient with us, we should have all of our samples prepared and ready. We didn't want to slow down the launch. We wanted to get the education, the training, have you guys start thinking about this. But we do expect to have samples available in the coming weeks. So make sure you just keep watching our different platforms where we put out news in these videos, and we will share the link for that as soon as it's ready. It'll certainly hit the product page. All right, lots of comments. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the comments. So Wayne asked, kind of off topic, but I want to hit it. Are you offering direct-to-film transfers? We are. So our direct-to-film transfer product is called Ultra Color Max. Also, don't be fooled by some companies branding their transfers as direct-to-film transfers when they aren't. Okay, and so direct-to-film transfers are a buzzword. You'll want to make sure that's the type of transfer you're actually getting, because a direct-to-film transfer that's produced correctly with high quality has some very distinct things. It has, number one, no clear outline. And so if you can recognize any sort of outline around the product, it is not a direct-to-film transfer. Yes, it may be a digital transfer, and there are plenty of uses for digital screen transfers, but direct-to-film is different and has its own unique set of advantages. We call ours Ultra Color Max, and we'll make sure we link it in the comments. We do have samples of those readily available, and that is exactly the product that is on my sleeve here. So Decorate Performance Wear, no scorching, really soft, really stretchable. I love that product. All right, let me jump back, see if I missed any other questions before we wrap up today. I'll take questions on any topic, even if it's not this. I haven't been live in a while, so it's good to spend some time with you all. My travel schedule is going to be awesome coming up. I will be at Impressions Fort Worth, and we'll have a booth there. Our team is currently at GPX Charlotte as well. And then I will be at Printing United later in the month of October, which is in Las Vegas this year. So Impressions Fort Worth, Printing United, Las Vegas. I'd love to meet some of you in person out at these shows. Yeah, and you can always call and ask for samples as well once they're available. Thanks for that. We have our customer service line, 1-800, the number 4, and then spell out Stalls on the phone. That's our customer service line. Yeah, Michael, we do white ink with our direct-to-film transfers. So there is a white base underneath everything, so it does have good opacity. But you can definitely do free-floating text. There's no halos or outlines, so it's been super popular. And Danielle, thank you, just shared a link to our events. Whoops, grabbed the wrong comment. I'll come back here. So you can see the stalls.com/events. And all right, you guys are asking questions faster than I can click on them. All right, biggest decorated apparel trade show. Ooh, there's quite a few good ones. I'm really excited. Impressions has just done a phenomenal job for for a very long time. Their biggest trade show is Long Beach, California in January. And then they have an East Coast one in Atlantic City that's typically in March. So Impressions trade shows are great. They have a lot of them. I'm really excited for Printing United this year. It's used to be the SGIA show. It changed over to Printing United. And they are, I'd say, pretty diverse in what you'll see on the floor. Lots of large equipment, lots of different industries kind of converging. And they are really investing a lot into the apparel segment this year. So I'm excited to go there. That's the one in October in Las Vegas. See how that is brought to life. We'll have great booths at both of those shows. And then there's a lot of other regional shows that are great, but those are some of my personal favorites. And then Laura asks, what types are there pre-production samples for? And so every patch that we offer, except for the PVC patch, has some type of pre-production sample. So print stitch, embroidery, leather, 3D embroidery, these are all single samples. The really cool thing about Flex Style, somehow I don't have my sample of Flex Style here. It's because it's behind me on my cat press and I'm chained here. But the really cool thing about Flex Style is you actually get 5 pre-production samples for that same price. So I'm going to pull up the photo of it so you guys can see Flex Style here. So this Flex Style product, this texture that it has in it, and we actually give a great comparison. There are 4 styles of Flex Style. There's beveled, where it has these sharp edges. There's flat, which kind of maintains the integrity of the customer's logo. There's domed, that has these rounded edges. And then there's textured, which is the sample you had seen in the basketball logo. All of those products in Flex Style, it has its own price grid on this dimensional logo brochure. And when you order the production samples for the same $12.50, you're going to end up getting 5 samples. And so I love that one because now I can take that idea I talked about earlier about kitting or packaging, and I can show that with my samples. I can decorate a hat and 2 other products that kind of go with it and deliver that all together to be able to win bigger deals. All right, a couple more questions before we wrap up and let you get back to your Friday. Shows in Canada, I think, I'm not as familiar, Andrew, on the shows in Canada. I think the big one in Canada is the Imprint show, but I'll have to follow up on that comment and get the exact details on that. But I believe the Imprint show is one of the bigger ones. Thanks for sharing the Printing United show. So we have that right there, printingunited.com. And yeah, Flex Style does look unbelievable. That's another one that's really great in the pressure sensitive version for even travel cups and things of that nature. It's really popular for that, for hard goods. Okay, and we really don't do a whole lot of training on how you can make patches in your shop. We do sell the twill. We don't sell thread, but we do sell the twill, and we do sell the product called thermo adhesive that you can use to back products for patches. But we really don't go out there and promote on how to make your own patches at this point. Maybe that's something for us to consider in the future. And I'm sorry, we can't do 5 samples of all print types. Only the Flex Style makes sense. The other ones are single samples right now. Yeah, and thank you for some love and some help here. Imprint Canada. I thought I had the name right, but I wanted to make sure. And in Montreal just happened. All right, great. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little training. Make sure you drop me a comment on your top takeaway. I love to hear that, and that'll motivate me to come back and share more things like this live with you all. And if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you like this video, subscribe, drop a comment, and most of all, have a great weekend and go win some larger orders with these dimensional patch products. Let us know how we can help you be successful. Thanks so much. See you guys.